Hello FPL managers, today we have a look at our FPL Team Reveal updated draft for the new FPL season. In today's video we take a look at the updated team selection coming into the new campaign, which has featured a fair few changes since the first draft. This team reveal is likely to see future changes as well, so this is probably not going to be the final draft for the new FPL season. So just before we get into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed the video, and also click that notification bell so you guys don't miss any future uploads on the channel. And with that being said, let's get into the video. So starting off in goals for the new team reveal, it is Robert Sanchez. There's been no change made just as yet for the goalkeeper, as Sanchez has such good value of £4.5 million, and he is currently one of the higher owned keepers in the game with a 25.9% ownership. I just think he's the best value £4.5 million keeper, and it is good to save a little bit of money on the goalkeepers to spend it elsewhere in the squad. I've touched on Brighton's fixtures before, but they faced Burnley, Watford, Everton and Brentford as their first 4 matches, which I'd hopefully expect them to get 2 to 3 clean sheets in. This would obviously mean that Sanchez will be one of the highest scoring keepers coming to the 4th match day of the season, which is exactly what you want for the short term. Even after Gameweek 4, they face Leicester, Crystal Palace, Arsenal and Norwich, so they don't really have a bad fixture turn until Gameweek 9, where they face Manchester City and then Liverpool after. So just considering his cheap price tag and their good fixtures, he's definitely a good option to have. And as the bench goalkeeper, we have gone with Ben Foster. He is a decent price at £4 million, as I would expect him to get a couple of games for Watford this season. He is also one of the top owned keepers with a 24.9% ownership. It actually does make him the 3rd highest owned keeper. Watford do have some nice starting fixtures, as in the first 6 game weeks they only have 1 match with an FPL rating over 3, so if he can get some starting minutes then he will definitely be good value, but regardless he is probably the best £4 million keeper in FPL. Now moving on to the defenders, starting off with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Liverpool faced Norwich away in the first game week of the season, which is a very good fixture for them to kick off their campaign, as Liverpool have some great start to the season in terms of their fixtures, facing Norwich, Burnley, Chelsea, Leeds, Palace and Brentford as their first 6. 4 out of these 6 matches only have an FPL rating of 2, and with Trent being the 2nd highest scoring defender last year with 160 FPL points, you would expect him to come out raring in this new season. He is one of the more popular defender picks with a 27.4% ownership, which does make him the 2nd highest owned defender, but I definitely think he is an essential FPL asset. Moving on to the next defender, it is Trent's Merseyside rival in Lucas Digne. Digne has seen a price drop this year to £5.5 million, and as Everton faced Southampton in the first week, you definitely would expect him to make a good start to the season. In the first 6 matches of this season, Everton have some of the best fixtures, as they have 0 games with an FPL rating of over 3. So with Lucas Digne getting himself 120 points last year with just 2,600 minutes played, and getting himself 9 assists and 9 clean sheets, he is definitely a good all-round option. He did have one of the highest expected assists for defenders last year, so I am hoping that he can recreate those numbers for this season. And to cap off these starting defenders, it is Vladimir Coufal. Coufal has a lower ownership than many of the other defenders, as he's only the 8th highest owned defender. He only has a 16.2% ownership, but I think at £5 million he is still very good value despite seeing a price rise. He did get himself 128 FPL points last season, as he was super impressive with 9 assists and 9 clean sheets. And with West Ham's great starting fixtures of Newcastle in Gameweek 1, then Leicester, Palace and Southampton after that, you definitely would expect West Ham to get a fair few clean sheets and Coufal to get those attacking returns. So as a differential punt defence, I definitely think he's a good shout. And currently the defenders we have on the bench include Luke Shaw and Wesley Fofana. Luke Shaw is coming in as the highest owned defender in FPL currently with a 46.1% ownership, which is actually 20% higher than any other defender. It is clear to see why, because his £5.5 million price tag is such good value for him, and with Manchester United's good fixtures to start the year, you definitely would expect him to be one of the highest scoring defenders coming into Gameweek 4. In the first 4 weeks, they have Leeds, Southampton, Wolves and Newcastle, which is very good from a defensive standpoint, but Luke Shaw did highlight his attacking output as he got himself 1 goal and 5 assists last year. Luke Shaw had 7 big chances created last year, which was 7th highest for defenders, but he also has that clean sheet potential as well playing for Manchester United, so he's definitely a good option, especially after coming off a very good Euros tournament. And with Wesley Fofana being the 5th defender, he definitely is great value at £4.5 million, as you would expect him to start in that Leicester defence. He is the 4th highest owned defender with a 25.2% ownership, but he is probably the best £4.5 million defender. And now move on to the lads in the middle of the park, starting with Jack Harrison. Harrison has a tricky Gameweek 1 fixture as he faces Manchester United away, but he is good value in the middle of the park at £6 million. I have gone with Harrison over his Leeds teammate in Rafinha, because I feel like he is better value for that £500,000 cheaper, as he did record more points than him last year and did have a higher XG. Obviously Rafinha did get less minutes, but I feel like they will have a similar points output coming into the new season, and since there is a £500,000 price difference, I do think Harrison could be better. Rafinha is the 4th highest owned midfielder in the game compared to Jack Harrison's 5.3% ownership, so I definitely think for that extra differentiality he could be good. And moving on to another differential punt in midfield, it's Emi Buendia. Buendia comes from the Norwich side to the Aston Villa team, which does make him a more tempting option for this Premier League season, as I feel like he has stronger teammates around him at Villa. With the likes of Grealish and Watkins providing creativity around him, you would expect him to get a fair few goals and assists, especially considering their first 3 matches being Watford, Newcastle and Brentford. In terms of Aston Villa assets, I can't really see me keeping too many of them past Game Week 3, as from Game Weeks 4 to 9 they only have one match with an FPL rating of less than 4. So I do think he could be a good short-term option at just £6.5 million, as he only has an 11.8% ownership. And moving on to the next player, it is the big hitting Mo Salah. In my opinion, he's another essential option to have in the middle of the park, and he is currently the top owned player in FPL. It is clear to see why, as he got himself 231 points last year with 22 goals and 6 assists, and with Liverpool's great starting fixtures you would expect him to make a good start. And as the 4th and final starting midfielder, we have gone with the Bruno Fernandes alternative Sadio Mane. I was tossing up for this 4th midfielder spot between Fernandes and Mane, but with Mane's great fixtures to start the new season, I definitely think he could be one of the highest point scorers in the middle of the park. Fantasy Football Fix does predict Mane to be the 2nd highest scoring player in FPL after the first 6 weeks, so I definitely think for the short term Mane could be better than Fernandes. It is key to remember that he's only one transfer away, and if he doesn't make a good start then I can always bring in Fernandes, but I think he could be a good differential punt. And to cover the 5th midfielder position is 𝙁𝙖𝙣𝙩𝙗𝙦 at £4.5 million. He is a very consistent performer for Brighton, and he did get himself 1 goal last year, so he isn't the most prolific on the attack, but he just does get those consistent starting minutes, so for starting into the new FPL season he is a good option. And now moving on to the 3 forwards up top, starting off with Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin is coming in at £8 million, as he has seen a significant price rise since last year, but I still think he is great value up top, as he got himself 165 FPL points last season. He did get himself 16 goals and 6 assists, which is very impressive, and with Everton's great fixtures to start the new year, he is definitely a good option. Moving on to the next forward is Ivan Toney. Toney has a 34% ownership, making him the 2nd highest owned forward. Coming in at £6.5 million, I definitely think he is good value after he did get himself 31 goals and 10 assists in the EFL last year. And with Brentford's decent starting fixtures, he is no doubt a good short-term option. And to cap off the forward line is Mikel Antonio, who I think at £7.5 million is a great shout. He did have the highest XG per 90 last year at 0.64, tied with Harry Kane, so I definitely think with an 11.5% ownership and only a £7.5 million price tag he is good value. There is a big if with him in terms of his starting minutes due to injury, but with West Ham's great short-term fixtures of Newcastle, Leicester, Crystal Palace and Southampton as their first 4, I definitely think he could be one of the highest scoring forwards coming into the start of the season. So that does mean our squad value is coming in at £100 million, as we currently have 0 remaining in the bank, but I definitely think this is a great squad to have coming to Gameweek 1 of the new FPL season. So that's all I've got for today for the FPL updated draft team review. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to show support for the channel. And once again, click that notification bar so you guys don't miss any future uploads. Also, leave a comment what you guys thought of this team reveal and drop your attempts in the comments down below. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.